right, welcome back to American Sunrise. I'm Dr. G. Thanks for joining us this morning. We want to invite you to hop in our conversation over on YouTube, Getter, and Rumble. It is time now to take the political pulse of America and the beat today. A new Siena University poll shows the Senate Minority Leader's approval among New York voters has fallen to an all-time low, just 32%. The worst rating in the poll's 20-year history. And it's not just Republicans driving that drop, by the way. Only 45% of Democrats now view Schumer favorably, with nearly as many in his own party saying they disapprove of his leadership as well. Pollsters say the slide has been steep. Schumer once held a sky-high favorability, if you'll remember, as high as 70% back in 2005. But today, the senator is underwater with New York City voters, suburban voters, and upstate voters alike. Now, the numbers come as some Democrats openly question whether Schumer should continue leading the party in the Senate at all, while House Democrat leader Hakeem Jeffries continues to back Schumer publicly. The pressure is clear, with Congress as a whole sitting at a 15% approval rating nationwide. Joining us now with reaction, host of America's Voice Live and the Steve Gruber Show. It always just cracks me up to say that you host the Steve Gruber Show, as if someone else is going to host the Steve Gruber Show. But Steve,
good point.
What do you make of these numbers?
Great point, Gina, by the way.
Is that the same Hakeem Jeffries, by the way, that got money from Jeffrey Epstein for his run for Congress in 2013? Is that the same guy?
That would be
Just
him.
want to make sure I'm reading the
that's the
emails
same guy.
correctly.
Yes, good confirmation.
That's who we're talking about.
Same guy.
Yes, we can confirm.
Right. I think we'll find out a lot more about that going forward, by the way, now that Donald Trump has signed the legislation to release whatever documents related to Jeffrey Epstein we can find. Look, Chuck Schumer's not popular. Democrats not popular. But let's be honest here, folks. Donald Trump's underwater as well because the word affordability keeps coming back. So here's where Republicans need to be. I know that Donald Trump's working on a 28-point plan to bring peace to Ukraine. I think that's a big step forward if he can pull it off. But domestic problems are what are weighing down Chuck Schumer. Domestic problems are what are weighing down Hakeem Jeffries, and they're weighing down the Republican Party as well. Right now, I wouldn't wager either one to come out on top in the midterms because it's still too early to tell. But Republicans and this president are going to have to drill down on the unpopularity of Democrats like Schumer, who's in real trouble, by the way. AOC is going to primary him. Mark my words. She's going after this guy. I don't know if she can win statewide, but she will carry the vote in New York City. You know that, of course, based on Mamdani. So Chuck Schumer's political days are numbered. He is not well liked. I think is a fair way to put it. I think that's pretty clear from the numbers that you just shared, Gina. He's not well liked. But then again, what politician is well liked today? I mean, truly well liked. Donald Trump has his base. The Democrats have no leader. But both sides have polling problems right now because it comes down again to, can Americans have a mortgage? Can young Americans 18 to 30 have a future? Can they get a job and pay the mortgage, pay the rent, raise a family, pursue the American dream? That's really forefront to me. It is. It's the number one issue facing this country. And look, when you look at Mamdani, I keep going back to this in Democrats, 82% of young women 18 to 30 voted for Mamdani. They want a different path forward. They don't like what they see. And the Republicans, led by the White House, have to deliver the message that we can deliver for you when it comes to the cost of everything. And Chuck Schumer, he's a dead man walking.
So let's talk about that for a second. Let's talk about Schumer and let's talk about Mamdani. I'm curious to get your take about Mamdani at the White House tomorrow with Trump. I think this is a setup in a good way because I think the president's going to have a field day with this. And Mamdani better watch out or he'll become the next Zelensky. And then you've got Schumer, who I personally don't think he's going to run. I think he's going to see the writing on the wall and not want to get embarrassed. So remember, this is in 2028. So I don't think he's going to run. I think there's plenty of time for him to say, you know what, he can go out and milk a cow somewhere in New York. I'm just kidding. He's not going to milk a cow.
No.
He's already milked the folks in New York for a lot of money.
Along with a whole lot of other
what
people.
Do you think?
Milked, bilked, yeah.
Bilked. Yeah, I was going to say bilked. Thank you, Gina.
Here's what came to mind when you said that. All of these octogenarian politicians, Schumer's almost there. You know, Vegas will bet on anything. We should have wheelchair races in Congress. Vegas will bet on anything and have all of these elderly people that are in Congress out there. Look, we do need younger people and better ideas and a new path forward and ways to make sure that health care is affordable and groceries are affordable and we can afford gas and we can have, interest rates on mortgages that are tolerable and move forward. I'm sorry, Terrence, you all right?
No,
I'm
no.
just checking on you.
I had to sneeze. Sorry.
Wellness
I
check
know.
on aisle 7.
Chuck Presley. Go ahead.
Live TV, God bless America. Anyhow, I
He's
lost my
allergic
train
to
of
you,
thought a
Steve.
little bit there.
What
Well,
is
that
going
happens.
on?
You know, I have that effect on.
sorry,
I
I
have
should
that
have done
effect
this,
on some
Dr.
people, David. I admit it. I really do. Going forward, young people are the focus. They have to be. And you look at Chuck Schumer, and you look at Nancy Pelosi's 106, and she's finally not running again. But you look at some of these folks. I mean, they sneeze and their dentures fly out. I mean, come on, people. Can we do better? There's got to be some people out there that we can do better with. Terrence, am I wrong? I mean, Nancy, her dentures are shivering.
You know what?
I can't stand
am
it.
so on board with you. I've gotten in trouble, and Stove even proclaimed that I'm probably an ageist. But I'm with you. I've been saying this for a long time. I'm with you. I am so with you. Go
Gina,
ahead.
you don't agree. Gina, you don't agree. I know you don't.
I agree that
Yes.
Nancy Pelosi and
Well, that part.
Chuck Schumer need to go. I don't agree with term limits. I think that they are a constitutional tragedy where people are actually forfeiting their own vote. Look at how many people, I'm not saying one way or another whether I think this should happen, because honestly I'm kind of undecided, but look at how many people say that Donald Trump should run for a third term. You take away your right to vote for people, and the power doesn't dissipate. It transfers to staffers and lobbyists. You make staffers and lobbyists, all the power concentrates there, and voters give up and forfeit their own power.
And it has for a while.
It's very
Gina,
important.
you're exactly right.
Yeah.
You're exactly right, because the staff just moves to the next office, across the hall, down the hall, whatever. They just move around, and they have all the power. They write the bills, they read the bills, they do everything.
Yep.
And look, there are some people that are well past 80 that are doing a fine job. Chuck Grassley comes to mind. I wouldn't want that guy investigating me, and he's crowding 90, right? Because he's like an old hound dog on a set. He doesn't give up. He just keeps going along until he finds the truth. You know, and there's a different level of competency when you get to certain levels of age with different people. But look, there was that member of Congress, the Republican. They couldn't find her for 6 months. Then they found her in an old folks' home in Houston. Her staff, to your point, Gina, was protecting her to protect their power. Not her, not the constituents. They were protecting their own personal power inside that office. And that's wrong. And so I don't agree with term limits either, just to be on the record. I think term limits are a bad idea. I think voting is supposed to be the way you term limit people.
Yes.
Or you frighten people like Schumer not
Yes.
to get in the race
Agreed.
because he knows he's going to lose. He doesn't want to be embarrassed, which I think David might be right about that. Maybe he doesn't run because he doesn't want to be embarrassed. And there's some truth to that. We do need, though, to drill down. Look, Donald Trump has done a fabulous job on the world stage when it comes to ending wars and ending conflicts and negotiating deals with people, and he'll meet with anybody. And look, I realize that irritates a lot of folks. He has a Syrian president in the Oval Office. Well, he's a terrorist. Well, fair enough. But in 1972, Air Force One landed in Beijing, and the president of the United States got off and met with Chairman Mao, who at that time actively had over 300,000 Chinese soldiers working with the Viet Cong, actively killing Americans. Barack Obama sat down and had hot dogs and beer at a baseball game with Fidel Castro. Sometimes you have to deal with bad people to get good results. That's the job. I'm sorry.
Wait.
You have to meet with Kim Jong-il and Kim Jong-un. You have to, because you have to find breakthrough points.
Okay, can I just say something?
That's my-
I hear what you're saying, but
No.
I'm sorry, just a bone of contention here, but not in the Oval Office. That's different. It wasn't at a baseball game, and it wasn't in Beijing. It was in the Oval Office. And
We
I'm sorry,
flew Air Force
the
One
guy-
into
the guy was
Red
planting
China, David.
explosives in Iraq, and he was in a jail
we flew
under
Air
U.S.
Force One
custody
into
for
Red
5 years.
China to meet with the biggest mass murderer of the 20th century and to regulate and normalize relationships with the biggest mass murderer in the history of the 20th century, who killed 50 to 90 million people, including Americans, in Vietnam.
Oval Office is
I
sacred.
dismiss your point.
It is interesting, and the American people are having this debate right now, don't you think? It seems to me, Steve, like Donald Trump is trying to see if perhaps diplomacy in the Oval Office can be a little bit of part of sort of what he does. Honestly, I think in an attempt to just be extremely transparent, you are having them on our terms. If you're going to have a highly charged business meeting, you don't go into their court. You have them
That's
into
right. It's
your
called
court. So maybe
Home
that's what he's
field
thinking. But
advantage.
Even when they're an Al-Qaeda terrorist?
David, I agree with you.
Even
Him
when there's the
touching-
biggest
him
mass murder in
touching-
the world history.
him touching the Resolute
I mean-
desk. I agree with you. But I do
Absolutely not.
But I do think the American people right now, don't you, Steve, are just kind of watching, engaging. Donald Trump is a disruptor. He's not going to do anything the way anyone tells him to do it or the way anyone
hold
has
on.
ever done it before. And I think he's just seeing how this goes, David.
Let me just say one last
David,
thing.
I recognize your objection. David, I recognize
hang
your
on, let me
objection.
just
But
say
the
one
fact
last
of the
thing.
matter
Let me
is,
just-
you have to deal with bad people to get good results, and Donald Trump is getting good
Okay,
results in
but-
8 wars so far.
Time out. But if this was Biden, I'm sorry, guys. I'm not trying to check us all here,
We'd
but
be
if this was
blowing a
Biden,
gasket.
we would be having
Yeah.
a field
Fair.
day on this. We would say,
Fair.
how dare
Well,
he?
hold on,
you
David.
Know we would
be,
You
except
know
here's
we
the
would.
difference. Here's the difference.
What's the-
Donald Trump can actually hold a conversation. Joe Biden could not.
Yeah, and
Okay.
Joe Biden
So
would
there's
come
the
away
difference.
with 10 more multi-million-dollar contracts for his family and his children, and Donald Trump comes away with peace deals for the American people. That might be part of the difference too, right, Steve?
Yeah, I
Now I
think
have
that's
to
true.
take a
Look,
pill.
I understand your defense of the Oval Office. I've been there. You've been there. It's a very special place. It's the most famous, and I think you're right, sacred room in the world. But there is home field advantage. And if you're going to get a deal, even with terrorists, which we deal with terrorists whether you like it or not every single day to get peace on this planet, and that's what Donald Trump is doing, and I support those efforts. But at the end of the day, he has to return to domestic policy to win the midterms. That's my takeaway.
Maybe he needs a reception room that isn't the Oval Office so that they're not putting their slimy little hands, their terrorist bloodstained
Exactly.
hands on the Resolute desk, and then he can have them in and have those conversations. I don't know. Maybe we could solve it all. And we'll tell Brian Glenn to ask that question. Steve Gruber,
Fair
thank you
point.
so much for joining
Thanks,
us today.
thanks.
Thanks, Steve. Thank you,
Thanks.
Steve.
All right, we also encourage our viewers to join the RAV Ambassadors program. Here's what you get the very moment you join. Take a look.
What if watching Real America's Voice was just the beginning?
Proud to introduce the RAV Ambassadors.
The new grassroots platform that turns viewers into leaders, connecting directly with hosts like Steve Bannon, Dr. Gina, and more.
Built by patriots for patriots.
Inside the RAV Ambassadors Hub, you'll get exclusive updates, challenges, and behind-the-scenes missions straight from the people shaping the fight for faith and freedom. Every action you take, every share, post, and mission earns you points, badges, and ranks. Compete with patriots nationwide. Unlock rewards, exclusive gear, even chances to appear on air or attend live RAV events. But this isn't just about watching, it's about doing. Joining campaigns, volunteering locally, standing for truth.
This isn't just a fan platform, it's a movement, one voice at a time.
Scan the QR code or go to ravambassadors.com to join now.
Because America's voice is your voice.
It sure is. All right, still to come on American Sunrise, House Democrat Jasmine Crockett completely botches an accusation on Capitol Hill. Now Republicans firing back. That political fallout is up next. Stay with us.